Well, good evening, everybody. I hope you all are having a wonderful evening. And I would like to thank you all for jumping on. I am Maurice Barr, and I'm the pastor of Relevant Church. And we exist to help lost and hurting people find life and restoration through Christ by by loving unconditionally, being an example as he was in the earth, and being a demonstration as he walked in the earth. So tonight we have a group of young people on with us, and I'm really truly excited about this. What we started Wellness Wednesdays so that we can expose the body of Christ to information that has been considered taboo. So we use Wellness Wednesdays to bring forth things that are not discussed from the pulpit. And so I have an awesome group of young people on here today, and I am going to honestly allow all of them to introduce themselves. But I know I have Pam Clark on here, who is the program director of Minority Health, the Minority Health Initiative in Indiana. I have Angie on here, who is the cessation to tobacco prevention coordinator. Kayla, who's on here, who is the coordinator for Voice. And it looks like we have some other cool, awesome people on here as well. I see my friend. Nice. Look at you. Hey, so without further ado, we gonna jump into this and get this party started. So if y'all all can introduce yourselves, and we'll go from there, and we'll keep it going. I guess
So
Pam, you can start.
I'll start. Okay. I just want to thank everybody for being on. Maurice and I started this like in 2020 or 2021 during COVID while we were all at home. And we thought this was a great platform for us to get some education out about non-profits and also health education and talking about our prevention and early detection programs. But this evening, I don't want to waste any more of your time. I want to talk to our young folks. We have two from our core team, and we also have Angie, who is our minority tobacco prevention sensation coordinator.
That's me.
So that's her. And I'm going to let her introduce herself, but I want to say thank you to Kyla, who is holding it down with a lot of balls in the air. Oh, yeah. She's going to be awesome. And Angie, I'll let you introduce yourself.
All right. My name is Angie. I am the Clark County Minority Tobacco Prevention and Cessation Coordinator. So, with my position, I am working to connect people to the quit line and employers, multi-unit housing properties to go smoke free, because everybody deserves the right to be in smoke free air. And with persons in marginalized communities, I have a heart for them. And my goal is to help eliminate the disparities and with the health equities in Clark County. So, and I'll turn it over to Kyla so she can introduce herself and introduce the voice team that's with her tonight.
Hello, my name is Kyla Walls. I am the Youth Empowerment Coordinator for Voice Action Speaks, and Voice is a tobacco prevention program for the youth. We work here in Clark County with Greater Clark schools as well as Clarksville and just recently New Washington schools. So what we are encompassing is trying to get to the root of why youth use tobacco, and then from there giving them different avenues for them to quit tobacco. So pushing the 1-800-QUIT line, truth.com, as well as our Voice Indiana website. There's a lot of resources on there, and we have national days of actions, which are action days throughout the year where we plan events to get the word out about tobacco prevention for the youth. And we have a core team, which is composed of 6 members from high school, from freshman to senior. And we get together and we plan events for the community. And then we have an action squad where we go, they help us put together the events. So setting up, executing, all of that. And on the call today, I have 2 core team members, Kendia Motley. She is a senior at Jeff High, and Earl Gold. He is also a senior at Jeff High. And like I said, they are on the core team, so they work closely with me in planning events for our National Days of Action.
Okay,
Awesome.
fantastic.
That's awesome. I am really, it's really exciting to see young people grab and be take an initiative. And I personally know one of these young people, and for the last few years, she has just been amazing. So it's really good to see somebody spearheading this and you taking the ball and really rolling with it and getting this thing going. Because I know initially when we was getting this party started, it was just 2 people at the party. And then that turned to 1 person at the party. So to have a team,
Then it was back to one person.
so to have a team of what you have and what you're doing, and to have the reach and the schools that you're in, I'm really excited to hear about it, to see how we can help, see what we can do to partner with you all, and let's go. Let's get this party started. Yeah.
So I thought we would definitely, I want to hear from our youth, but I thought we would start out by just talking about Kayla and what your meetings are like, and what these guys, the core team, how do y'all plan your meetings, and how do you plan your activities? Because they're all about the youth and their creativity in addressing tobacco issues at school.
So the core team meets once a month. And whenever is a National Day of Action coming up, we meet a couple times before the day, and we come up with a plan. We decide what is going to reach the biggest audience, what's going to have the biggest impact, to get the word out about tobacco prevention in youth. So at the beginning of the grant semester, which was we started in September, we picked 2 key initiatives to focus on throughout the school year, which were alternatives to school suspension, as well as root cause work, dealing with mental health, health disparities, things in that avenue. So we decided the first National Day of Action, which was Red Ribbon Week, it lasted a whole week. We wanted to do something that would reach the whole audience. And most times schools do poster contests, but we were like, okay, we want to do something different. So social media is very big in youth. You see youth all on social media, of all different platforms. So we decided to do TikToks, which are you can do like 15 to a minute long videos. So we did TikToks with the core team, and sent those, put those out on TikTok, and combined total views, we got over 10,000 views, which
Wow.
was
That's
way
awesome.
more than what we expected. Whenever you plan your events, you fill out like a form that goes to the state to let them know what you're going to do, how many people do you want to reach, what's your target audience. And it was our first one, so we wanted to reach 100 people because we didn't think it would reach that many people, but it ended up reaching over 10,000 people. So that was very exciting for our first action day, and to also see so many youth engaged in what we had to say and what our message was.
Mhm, mhm. So I'm going to jump right in here and just ask the question. Why are so many teens vaping? What makes it so attractive that they are vaping? They're putting the cigarettes down and they're picking up a vape pen.
I'll
Well,
take that question.
okay, go ahead.
So it's mainly, well, from my point of view, like my perspective,
Mhm.
it's coming from just like from a young age, and it's like early on, like 4 or 5, and it's actually cystic. This, oh my god, I can't talk. I'm nervous right now. I'm sorry.
Don't worry
but
about
but oh my god, I'm shaking. Well, it's coming from a younger age, and it's coming from seeing parents, and it's just you see monkey do basically.
it. Mm-hmm.
So like if your parents are doing it, and as a young kid, your mind's not really where it's supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
and so you see it and you're around it, and you're just around it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just coming from parents and older kids, and they see it and then they grow up to do it, and it's a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have a question into that. So you're saying it's systemic, and then it's kind of generational.
Statistical, that's what I meant.
So, and then it's kind of generational, and then you say then it's kind of uh, the kind of you see, then you follow suit, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
sir.
Now, it does the marketing or the flavoring or the being able to be discreet about what you're doing, does that play a part into it?
A
um
huge part.
I
so okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
oh perspective, I think when vaping slash e-cigs, when it first came out, it was marketed as a healthier version of a cigarette, meaning there was no nicotine in it. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was healthy. It was just flavored air, basically, that you smoke and you're not getting the same effects as cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
But doing research and later on, they started putting on the labels nicotine, like in big bold letters, because so many youth were picking it up and thinking, oh, this is safer than a cigarette, when in reality, it's even worse because there are harsh chemicals in there that you don't know anything about, and they market these to kids by saying that it's healthier, and it is a systemic and generational thing, because if you grow up seeing your parents or people you're around smoking cigarettes, and you're like, okay, maybe I don't want to smoke cigarettes, but now there's something for youth, vapes, it's easy to get, you can go to the gas station. Before, you only had to be 18, but now you have to be 21 to get those. So that's a increase in the age, which is good, but it's very easy to obtain them. And the flavoring, because there's all kind of different flavors, I think appeals to the youth even more, because it's not going to taste like just some regular menthol cigarette or minty. You can have strawberry, banana, like all kind of different flavors, which makes it even more appealing to youth to pick up and vape.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they say that there's over 15,000 flavors
Mm-hmm. Yep.
of e-cigarette juices.
Mm-hmm.
And then also to come back to about the health effects, they're also starting new, like, they're not calling them e-cigarettes because when you hear the word cigarettes, most people know that's like a negative
Mm-hmm.
term. So they're calling them like sticks or something weird, but they're health sticks. So it's kind of like when people talk about, they're trying to capture the people that like use sage to smudge in their house.
Mm-hmm.
They've got these like herbal inhaler things to smudge your lungs, to clear your lungs, to be
Oh my
zen.
goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So I had never heard of such a thing, and I would have never put it together. To me, it sounds like you'd be smoking an incense, but
Right, right. Yeah,
that's
they
one
even
of the
have
new things that they just recently came out with.
they have like smoking like pods, sticks, whatever, that is it's like melatonin. So you smoke it, and it's basically you're smoking melatonin basically
Mm-hmm.
to get you to sleep, and it's like, well, whatever happened to taking gummies or taking pills? What happened to the fun in taking a melatonin gummy? Now you can just smoke it.
What about drinking warm milk? What happened to just
Right,
drinking
right,
warm?
right. You can just go on the internet and buy melatonin. I can smoke it. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's so bizarre to
That
me.
is
But
crazy.
our
Well,
Yeah.
society is
Yeah.
so trained to smoke everything.
Yeah.
well,
Can
at
it?
one point they were putting liquor in vapes as well. At
Oh,
one
well, they do
point,
THC stuff too.
Yeah, they
You,
were
you,
putting you could get
Yeah,
some
yeah,
Hennessy in
yeah.
a vape.
Oh my
Um,
god.
Well, let me tell
it's
you, I was so, I'm older, I'm older, y'all. So I'm sitting around with a group of adults, and I didn't think none of it. I'm thinking they were smoking a black and mild. Well, come to find out it wasn't. It was THC, and it was pass. And I'm like, what are they pass? I didn't know. I get in the car, and my daughter tells me I was in a rotation. I'm like, well, what's a rotation? We didn't move, what is this? So yeah, yeah. So I'm learning too, guys. But I
pump
do
puff
have a
pass.
yeah, I have right. I have another question. So like what Angie was saying, so there's names to is are there names out there to these to vaping? I mean, they don't call it vaping, or have they given them names?
They call it, like, each brand has its own like name, so they'll usually call it by like the brand name. So there's like a what's the one that was like real
Jewel.
Uh,
Jewel. It's like Juul Jewel. And now there's
Fog.
like Mr. Fog or something like that. They're thick and they're colorful. They smell really good, but
mhm,
you're smoking chemicals
mhm,
basically, because you can't just um burn up some strawberries and put it in there and that's how you smoke it. Like, you have to put all kind of chemicals in there.
mhm,
And that's what youth don't understand, that it's not just flavored air or flavored whatever. It's all kind of different chemicals. And then you see the stories about youth who are hospitalized or have had to have like double lung transplants because of
mhm,
smoking
mhm,
these e-cigarettes. And lung transplants are very hard to recover from and even survive.
mhm,
So I think that's something that people need
mhm,
to push out even more, instead of trying to say, oh, it's just bad for you. But, well, what's going
mhm.
to happen when you use these? Even if you use them once, you still increase that risk of
Right,
developing all kind of different health issues.
right.
well, I've
So
got a
I have
question too.
I'm
Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask our youth on the line if there's parents out here watching this video. Uh, I know whenever I was a teenager, my friends and I had different like slang terms that
Mhm.
we knew what we were talking about, but our parents would be oblivious. Is there any like terms that you all are aware of that parents should be aware of so that they can know that if their kid is vaping or
So, and that was kind of the line with my question is like, so vaping is the actual thing that you're doing, right?
Mhm.
So
Mm.
you're vaping, but in that there's a subculture within the umbrella of vaping, right?
Mhm.
Which is
Mhm.
these terms so that you can say, hey, I'm going to
we
sneaker
would be
or
like you
whatever it
need to go
is.
to Mary Jane's house.
Yes.
You know, right,
They're like, who's Mary Jane?
yeah.
I I don't know too many. The only thing that popped in my head was, "Hey, let me hit it." That's all I know.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
all.
that's
Okay.
just about it.
I don't.
And like
Yeah.
just the names of the like a fog or like a
Yeah,
jewel.
mostly they just call it the name of whatever they're smoking. Like the one that's like very popular is either fog or hide, like HYDE. Or they'll just say I'm just smoking.
Mhm.
But unless there's something out there that I haven't heard, but that's the only things that I've heard. They'll say like I'm smoking or
Mhm.
So in this,
I got a fog or I
is it an epidemic going around in the schools? I deal in the schools, one particular school especially. Every time I go in there, the assistant principal always showing me all the vapes that he got that day.
Mhm.
So do y'all see it? Especially to my people who are in high school, is it a common thing just to be walking around the hall and vaping, knowing that it really is not traceable because one, the smell, and two, you can actually it's like blow the smoke in your shirt or something like that. Is it something that people are just walking around school doing that these young people are doing on a daily basis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's not any smoke. I mean, there's not necessarily smoke when you use the one that looks like a jump drive.
Yeah,
Oh,
there
what?
is.
It looks like a he said what a jump drive. He's like,
Yeah.
what? I didn't
Oh,
see
I got one laying around. So the vape
it's
looks
not
like
that big.
this. Hold on.
The flash drive.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it. Flash.
Oh,
You know what I mean? The
So
one
you
that's
can
Yeah,
like,
so you can have
there's
it like
actually
this, and
smoke
you can just be
that
like,
comes out.
yeah.
no, this is not a vape, so I don't want y'all to think passed over here vaping. But this is what it looked like. It looks like just like this, and you could just fold it up like that, and it looks just like a USB drive.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. So you
To
can
my, no matter what it is, smoke is always coming out. Like there is no, unless I don't know some invisible smoke gadget that I don't know. That's, like, smoke always comes out. But
okay.
yeah, I know I see you, Miss Pam. I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? We're on the same page.
I mean, even for me, in college, that's all you see. Or you either see it, or if you don't see it, you smell it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, you could be walking like me when I used to walk to class. It was nothing but grass beside me, and I'm smelling strawberries or blueberries or cake or something, and I know there's nobody beside me with that, so I know someone is vaping. And if
Mm-hmm.
if I don't see it, I'm gonna smell it, and if I don't smell it, then I see it. And it was just normal for people to just be walking around like just constantly vaping and vaping, and they'd go through them like
Mm-hmm.
they go through like 2 a day. And I know, like, my friend, she used to do it, and one like vape pod pin, whatever, has like 1,000, like you can puff it 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
So and people, youth are going through these like 2 or 3 a day, and
Mm-hmm.
times that by 7 days a week, that is of vaping to go through.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think they say one of those pods is about has the equivalent. Now, granted, they're not regulated, so this is
Hmm.
Right.
kind of speculation here. But one
Mm-hmm.
pod is supposed to equal one pack of cigarettes. So if you're going through 2 or 3 a day, that's almost the same amount of nicotine
Mm-hmm.
as up to 3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
Yeah.
I mean, that has to do something also just to your your chemistry is talking about, using a vape pen to vape melatonin. No wonder why you got to vape melatonin if you got
Mm-hmm.
that much nicotine running through your system.
Hmm.
well,
But we don't
do
even have to.
you think they know? Do you think they know the level of nicotine that's in there? Like we don't really understand the dangers of it because the way that they market it as socially acceptable
Hmm.
and it's an alternative. But like, say this pod is a 12% nicotine pod without the person to smoke. Do you think they understand the levels of nicotine that's actually in the pod, or do you think they're just vaping because without knowing the actual nicotine levels within the pod?
they know.
When,
They
when you
They
don't
count,
know.
don't.
It's a part of their everyday life, and then
It's not.
a lot of people a lot of people smoke to cope,
mm-hmm.
and it's just to get them through the day.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
that's
so
And
just where a
so
lot of
they're
people are.
unaware that the amount of
No, they
nicotine.
are. I said they are. They just don't care.
yeah.
Oh, okay, okay,
Okay.
cool,
But
cool.
he brought up a good point. I'm sorry, Kenya, but he
No,
brought up a good point because with COVID and isolation and with e-learning, when you talk about coping, that's part of that coping mechanism. The
Hmm.
stress that you have, that relieves some of that stress.
Yeah. And you said this, so that one of the initiatives that y'all are pushing is the suspension. What's happening with the kids when they get suspended?
Hmm.
What
So
what's so what are y'all seeing when kids get caught vaping? Is it extreme like expulsion
2 weeks
or
suspension.
2 weeks?
Yes, that's what it is.
yeah, there's like a 3 strike you're out kind of policy. So the
But
first time you get caught, it's I guess you get like reprimanded, and then the second time you get in school suspension, and then the third time is, you're on out of school suspension or you're expelled, depending on the severity of it. And
Wow.
our we would like to implement in the schools some kind of different something alternative to suspension, because it's hard for kids to learn at school. We've seen that with e-learning, and everything that's going on COVID wise. And for some students, one, smoking is maybe all that they see, and two, it is a way for them to cope. So if you've got a frequent flyer in your office and you're not sitting down to fix the problem, the main issue, they're going to keep on coming in, and you can't fix the little problems. You have to fix the big problem as a whole, or else the kid is going to get lost in the system.
Yeah.
And then add into that, if they're suspended and they go home, they're just going to continue
Mhm.
to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Earl,
I
you
mean,
were
that's
saying
that's good.
you
Like, I
were
mean, that's
saying
not good that they get suspended, but I'm like, that's good information that's being put out because, um, it if you can't suspend because you giving them access to do it unsupervised. So there
Mhm.
has to be some kind of alternative. Are y'all talking to the principals or the counselors, or what's your approach to actually trying to put something in place that's an alternative for that when these students get caught?
Well, we're currently trying to get into the schools right now. It's been a little rough with COVID, but me personally, I would like to, whenever a student is in trouble with tobacco, on that first time that they get in trouble, is for them to go to the school counselor, or have some kind of resources for quitting tobacco, or get to the root problem of why are you actually smoking tobacco. Because for some, it's probably my friends do it, and so I want to do it. I maybe don't really want to do it, but it's cool and I don't want to seem uncool. And just getting to that root problem, I think is what we would like to do. I know some other counties, they do quit kits, and so they're little baggies with things, stress balls, straws, gum, toothpicks, to keep their mouth moving and not focused on smoking or vaping, whatever they do. But something like that would be beneficial for youth also.
Or
Uh,
um,
Go ahead.
I ran this idea by you last
Hmm.
time.
Yeah.
We could either you get suspended or you could go to stuff to help stop.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, our program would be a great resource for
Mhm.
youth who are frequently in trouble with tobacco, or even just
Mhm.
one time they're in trouble. Reach out to us and see what kind of resources we can give. Maybe they even join voice, and help us with the fight for tobacco prevention in youth.
Mhm. Angie, did you have anything you want to share?
Oh, well, I was just going to ask. Earl was talking earlier about how, it's systematic. You see your dad and your mom
Mhm.
smoking or vaping, and then you grow, you get older and you start doing it. Like, what would you all say to kids that are looking at vaping and thinking that, it's something to try? Like, what would you all say to them to break that cycle? Because
Oh, sure.
you
That's
and
a
Kadia,
that's a that's a
you
challenging
and
question.
yeah, you and Kadia, you're all the voices, to empower people, and what would you say to them? Because there might be a youth on here that their parents making them watch and say, "Hey, see, this is let's break this cycle here."
I
Mhm.
think the best way to go about it is actually not for me to say anything, but to have someone that's had like past experiences and that's stopped and like
Mhm.
that's messed up their body, like so they could see like
Mhm.
where that gets you to.
Mhm. Yeah, I
I
like
would,
that,
Um,
sharing stories,
yeah.
personal testimonies,
Hmm.
because Colorado leads us in vaping, and Colorado leads us in a lot of things.
Hmm.
But it's hard to believe that kids do not have a concern about walking in the bathroom and all this, I still call it smoke, but the vape, because it's secondhand smoke.
Mm-hmm.
It's still secondhand smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go home, and some of them do have children, and then it's third hand smoke because it's on their clothes.
And
So,
then and then adding to that, it's also so like it's also to where like I'm sorry, I just forgot what I was racing. I'm so
okay,
sorry.
I'll come back to you.
I try to catch
Don't
myself.
worry. Hey, and you're young.
Mm-hmm.
You're
So
young.
in this thing, do y'all have access or opportunity to be able to speak on the dangers of vaping, like, and really start to educate people on what they're really putting into their bodies? Um, and if not, I'm in the schools, so I can, and I have a group of kids that I meet with in all the schools or most of the schools. So if that's a avenue that y'all trying to get in and y'all want to actually be able to present something, I'll be able to connect with my connections in the school and then connect you with them, and maybe it could be a mass
Mm-hmm.
presentation that says, "Hey, for y'all that's vaping, here are the dangers of it," and really expose them to the realness of it. Because I don't think a lot of people understand what they're putting in their bodies
Mm-hmm.
because of how it's marketed.
That's
And
what we did with. I'm sorry.
all right,
I
go
thought
ahead,
you was finished. That's
no,
what
go
we
ahead.
was doing when we was talking about the TikToks.
Mm-hmm. Um, I would gladly take you up on that.
Okay,
Any avenue that we can take to get into the schools, um, I would jump on that. And I also, our voice program is geared towards middle and high school, but I also think it's important to educate younger kids, elementary, because now we're seeing kids starting to vape or pick up on bad habits even earlier than middle school, because that's what they see. Or you're going to go into sixth grade and you want to be the cool guy, the cool new girl in school. And so if vaping is what they're doing, vaping is what you're going to do, especially if it's marketed as it's not cigarettes. It's something healthier, it's flavorful, it's good. It's easy to buy. That's something that they would look at. But yeah, I would love to speak to the youth and talk about those dangers, because we don't necessarily talk about what dangers lie ahead. We just say there is dangers, not what can happen.
But
okay,
Maurice, that goes back to African Americans dying at a greater rate than any other race from chronic diseases. And so, I've been in this business a long time, but when I first started out in public health, what I was hearing was, well, my grandmother had diabetes and her mother had diabetes, so I'm gonna
Mhm.
get diabetes. I'll just get on medication. It's like you accept it. You didn't, they're not thinking about how to prevent it. I could lose weight. I could eat better. Don't keep the grease can on the stove. Don't cook with the pig feet. Change our eating habits. So when we talk about vaping and we talk about the because I'm like Angie. When the data comes out, and there's going to be some data on youth and vaping and the impact that it has. But they have some data now that
Mhm.
shows what impact vaping has on their lungs. The American Lung Association. I don't have that data in front of me, but there is data that already shows the impact of vaping on our youth. And down the road, when you get older, I mean, we breathe in, I think it said 20,000 times a day. So think about who was talking about their friend
Mhm.
vaping, and it's like a pack a day. You know, that's a lot. That's
Yeah,
a lot,
and to
a lot on your lungs.
mhm. And to touch on your point about African Americans, we, as African Americans or minorities, marginalized communities,
Mhm.
we are at a higher percentage rate of being affected by these, any kind of disease, but especially smoking, because where do you see these stores that market tobacco or alcohol?
Mhm.
In the lower lower poverty communities.
Mhm.
That's where they put them up everywhere. They plaster signs everywhere. You don't see those in the suburbs or the more built up neighborhoods. You only see them where there's minorities, marginalized communities, and that's what we're going to go to. You know, we go to those corner stores to get milk or bread, and what are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to buy a cigarette because it's right here. I'm going to buy vape pods because they're right here. That's what we're used to seeing.
And they sponsor our events. I mean, you know, Angie was talking about this before. Maurice has talked about it when he was in that position. You go to years ago when I used to go to the Cincinnati Jazz Festival. It was called the Cool Jazz Festival, and they would have these big cigarettes, you know, big cool flags on both sides of the stage. So it's right there, and you've got from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you have all these Black folks at this concert, and all they say is cool. Hey, it's cool at the Jazz Festival.
Yep.
So, and they're purchasing cigarettes.
They're targeted. It's targeted, yeah.
Yes.
Especially when you can't get any sponsors, and they're like, yeah, we'll come in and sponsor this event. But
yeah, and back in the day, cigarette ads were targeted towards women because they always had the women smoking a cigarette. And I did a report on my grandma, and she used to be a nurse, and she said, you know, I used to smoke cigarettes back in the day, and it broke my heart. Honestly, I was like, Grandma, like, there's no way you smoke cigarettes. And she was like, she said, well, yeah, because that was the thing to do back then. That was the cool thing, was to get a cigarette and drink a Coke. And I was like, I could never imagine you smoke. I still to this day, I'm always like, there's no way you smoke cigarettes. She was like, yeah, I did. And it's the same now. That's what you see, and so that's what you're gonna do.
I know my sisters growing up, I'm the baby of 10, but I had 3 older sisters, and I hear them talking about how they used to stand in the mirror because they targeted women. And out of three of those, 2 of them smoked when they turned 18. And that may have been because of the impact of big tobacco focusing on women.
Yes.
Yeah, they had a slogan I found when we were doing our panel discussion back in October, and it was, instead of picking up a dessert, pick up a cigarette.
Wow.
Because you know, smoking helped keep you thin, and then you would quit smoking because then you would get fat.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day, they used to prescribe cigarettes as medicine. So before it became bad, you go to the doctor and they'll prescribe cigarettes. But my dad used to have me, and my mom used to tell me to go light their cigarette. So I had to actually go
doing that. Yeah.
You know, go to grab the cigarette, go to the stove, and then I had to inhale it so that it could start burning. You know, like, that's some foolishness now. Like, I would get straight locked up if I did that today. But back then, there was no coke. I remember riding in the car with the windows up.
Oh, man.
Well, they used to say menthol. Yeah, they used to say that menthol was good for African Americans because African Americans are more likely to have asthma. So they were suggesting to smoke menthol cigarettes because it was better for your asthma.
Oh, wow. That's that Tuskegee experiment stuff.
Yeah.
So for y'all young people, how is it for you all? Because we might have some young people that tune into this that saying, I don't want to follow the crowd. And how would you encourage the young person to say, you know, you're my friend, but I can't follow you? Do y'all follow the peer pressure? What is your mechanism of saying no? I don't rock like that.
I think I'm just traumatized personally by seeing my family, and you know, my family has lived. You know, my family members, they've lived a pretty long time, but I say that in correlation with their suffering for a long time, because with them being such smokers and heavy smokers, and starting as farmers. You know, my family was raised in the country. I mean, it's normal at 12 years old, 9 years old, you just smoking while you picking. And that has translated into years later, their health, the healing processes, or if they heal at all, or, you know, it's rough. So I think seeing the damage it's caused later on in life, they're beautiful people. But, you know, beautiful people crack too, if you know, if you do crack. So, so that's
true.
That I would just say, just watching the damage it does long term has been kind of traumatizing. And for my father, I've seen the damage it has done for him. For my grandmother, linked up with the other things that didn't help with, like the diabetes and the syphilis and the asthma and the, you know.
Yeah.
As a kid, I would, for real, I would grab my granny's or nanny's cigarette packet and I just throw it in the water. Like, I promise you, like, they would get so mad, and then like they'd just turn around and they would have a whole nother pack, and then just smoke that one. I'd be like, bruh. It's just, and I've actually been, not by my family, but I've been ash darn before, and it's like, it's not a good sight.
We were talking how people used to come in. I don't know if you guys, you're very young, but we were talking how people would just automatically come in your house and light up. You know, wouldn't ask, can I smoke? Nothing. They would just start smoking in your house. You know?
Or you would go to McDonald's and they had little disposable ashtrays on the table. I mean, it
You
was
used to be able to smoke on a plane.
Yeah.
You could
I
get on a
heard-
plane.
I could not imagine that.
You get on
At
the plane
Jazz, they had a
and be smoking on the plane.
Or you have to go through the smoking section of a restaurant to get to the non-smoking section.
Yep. Hotels were you had the, you know, those smoking and non-smoking rooms in hotels. You know, so what are what are you know, with this new wave of I guess smoking, this whole new wave of smoking, what do y'all feel is going to be the best approach to really expose the truth behind it?
I think social media, because the youth are always on social media, and there's ads for all kind of different things. I know I'll see something interesting and I'll click on it, and then my whole page is just filled with ads of whatever I clicked on. And so if we can target youth about tobacco prevention the way that tobacco manufacturers target us to pick up their products, I think that we can create a strong enough pushback to where we're not as predisposed to the tobacco. Oh my God, it's a cute baby.
I think if we can, like, we just need a consistently, like, just consistently just talk to them and just run it by them. Just like it's programmed in their head to end up doing it, but reverse it, if you know what I mean. If y'all understand what I'm saying.
Well, have you all heard about the insane amounts of money that the tobacco industry uses a year for their advertisements?
It's like billions.
$490 billion a year.
Wow.
I mean, when they got that target on your head, I mean, they really got it. They've got the back for it. So, you know, I mean, we might be small, but we can, you know, we can do it because, you know, non-smokers are actually the majority, and you know, we just have to keep on sharing, you know, that we deserve to not have to go somewhere and be in smoke. That includes in the classrooms. And it includes, I mean, I remember when I went to Jeff High years ago, I knew not to go to the main hallway restroom because that's where all the smokers were.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of the few restrooms that actually had the stalls. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but, you know, we just got to work against them.
Yeah.
Get the message out,
Yeah.
that, they are not safe. And the fumes that come out from secondhand smoke from vapes are not, it's not water. There's chemicals in there. There's carcinogens in there for the people that are breathing in the secondhand smoke from vapes
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Yeah. And, we just have to continue the conversation. We have to continue with our town hall meetings, our community discussions, and we need to get our churches involved. We need our pastors speaking from the pulpit, on Menthol Sunday. That's coming up, I think, in June or July. I can't remember, but we will also continue to recruit our churches just to put the message out there. It doesn't take a lot of work. But it does take us providing those tools and empowering our community and our young people with the tools and the message. And also making sure that we all are singing from the same hymn book. You know what I mean? So that takes a lot of conversation, and it also takes us old folks respecting young folks and listening, because they are a great resource. And I'm so excited to have this program in Clark County. And I'm excited to have these young folks for what few months I'm still going to have them before they graduate high school. And Kyla has done an awesome job in a short period of time. And we still have a lot of work to do. She has done, and she's holding down a lot, but she can, she's holding it down. She's going full time, and but I'm thankful for Angie, and I'm thankful for Maurice, for you guys helping us get the word out tonight about voice, because I think it's the best kept secret, and it's not going to happen overnight. I was showing Angie today some of the clippings from when I used to have my nonprofit, and I thought that's how I got the word out. We have to use media. At that time, we were using evening newspaper. I was in the evening news every week, seemed like. But that's what I did. But now you guys have social media, which reaches more people than what our evening news could. So, but I do want to ask a question. If I want to get involved in voice, how can I get involved? Who do I call?
If you would like to get involved in voice, then you would contact myself, Kyla Walls. I have business cards. We have flyers. Or, if you can't figure out, who was it that I talked to, contact Community Action. That's where who I'm employed by. That's where I run the voice program through. Call Community Action and say, I want to get in touch with Kyla from the voice program, or I want to get in touch with tobacco prevention programs, and they'll direct you to the right person. But I would welcome all youth from 12 to 18, middle school, high school. Even if you're not 12, but you're a mature younger adult, come join us. We would love to have you all and join us in this fight for tobacco prevention. So, yeah.
Well, I got a video that I can show as well that deals with voice. So I'm gonna show the video, and it leaves some information about voice on there as well. So I'll show the video.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Grant. I'm vape free because I've witnessed and experienced firsthand how tobacco can affect teens who want to escape from school, work, or other social activities. When it comes to curbing teenage use of tobacco and e-cigarettes, actions speak
Voice Indiana engages, educates, and empowers teens throughout the state to take action by promoting and celebrating a lifestyle free of tobacco and e-cigarettes.
Find out how you can be part of the statewide youth empowerment movement and help end teenage nicotine use by going to voiceindiana.org.
My bad.
I thought
Double clicked.
that's okay, but I'm glad you showed that, Maurice, because real quickly, I want to share. Kyla and I will have to discuss if we want to continue that that video to be shown throughout basketball games, football games in Southern Indiana, which I think it's at like how many high schools? I can't remember.
Well, I can tell you, I follow that channel, and I watch a lot of the games, and that it's in a rotation, a consistent rotation, and then sometimes you actually sponsor some of the like halftime stats. So during the halftime, it'll come on and say this is brought to you by, and then it'll still advertise. So it reaches a lot of people. I would suggest if y'all were, like for what you get for it, for the football games and basketball games, for that 6 months from September to February or however long that number amount of months, then it is really worth the exposure.
Okay.
It really is.
Well, something that we have the option of the current members that we have of the core team could make a video. And I mean, it'll be additional $400, or we could keep the video that you just showed. And that video is also in Spanish. So I'll have to do one in Spanish and one in English. So, but that's something that we need to decide, Kayla, like in the next few days. We need to decide. And salary status, like either way, if we want to continue, fine. If we want to make another one, that's fine too. And also,
or can we not use both?
Huh?
Can we not do both?
No, that's $8,000. For both, $8,000. Yeah. But I'm going to quickly let Angie talk about our new partnership with Pride, Clark County Pride. That's coming up, and some activities, how we're going to be involved.
Okay. In about 2 weeks, actually in June, they are Southern Indiana Pride is having another Pride Festival here in Jeffersonville. And in the first Friday of March, they are hosting one of their planning sessions. So the Tobacco Coalition is going to connect with the Southern Indiana Pride group and start working together. Because unfortunately, the big tobacco companies have put targets on the LGBTQ plus community as well. And they're not very nice to them either. One of the terms that they affectionately called one of their advertising projects was scum. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to be part of a group that they advertised as scum. They called it subculture urban marketing. So the LGBTQ plus community has higher rates of tobacco use than their counterpart, their heterosexual peers, and lesbians are actually at a higher risk of being exposed to secondhand smoke than their heterosexual peers. So tobacco industry, they just go in and just try and target people all across the board. And we are hopefully going to work together to combat that as well. So the Tobacco Coalition is going to be one of the sponsors for the Pride event. So hopefully we can get the word out there that you can be proud and be smoke free.
So we're hoping to our voice group will be involved in helping set up a booth that day, and there's also a parade, and maybe have a banner and walk in the parade as well. So we will keep you guys posted. And I know there's a pride group at Jeffersonville High School.
Mm-hmm.
So we would like to get them involved as well.
Any other young people want to say something as we start to wrap this up? One thing that we try to do with this is make sure that we're mindful of people's time. So if we say it's 30 minutes or if we say it's an hour, that's what it is. Because we know that y'all have things that y'all could be doing, and we don't want to overstep our boundary. So anybody got anything else they want to say that to kind of wrap this thing up?
Well,
Thank you.
I know. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
No,
Candia.
you're fine. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity for the Community Action Speaks to be here. And I want to say thank you to anybody who was watching and everybody who was watching. This is great stuff. And I'm glad we get to advocate for it and talk about it. Miss Angie?
No, thank you. I was just going to say, if you have, we want to hear from you. We both the Voice Empowerment Group as well as the Tobacco Coalition. We want our community voices heard. So we would love for you to join us as well.
Anybody else?
I think India and Miss, what's her name again? I'm so
It's
sorry.
Angie.
I can't see Miss Angie.
That's okay.
Miss Angie. I think them two said it best.
Well,
Hello?
well, awesome. Well, Kylie, you got anything?
I would just like to say thank you as well for this opportunity to use this platform to speak about voice. Any youth or parents, even if you have questions, comments, concern, or you want to know how you can help, you can always reach out to myself, to Miss Pam, to Miss Angie, to Maurice, even. And we'll get you set up with the resources that you need. And if you want to join us, you could do that as well. But thank you all.
Well, awesome. It's always awesome when you can get young people to mobilize. If you go back and look at the civil rights movement, it was young people that mobilized that movement. It was the young people that was out there on the front lines. It was the young people that sparked the movement. So anytime you can get young people to believe in something, we need to show our support and engage with them and support them in everything that they're doing, because these young people could be doing something totally different and writing a different narrative, but they're choosing to make a difference and make a lasting impact, not only in the community that they live in, but the surrounding communities and communities that may not be directly where we are. But let's back these young people again. It's voiceindiana.org. If you have any questions about that, you can reach out to Community Action of Southern Indiana. Ask for Pam Clark, Maurice Ball, Kyla Wells. We will definitely get you information. And with that being said, I thank these young people, and I'm going to pray. We're going to close it out. And then I know everybody else got stuff to do. So, Father, I thank you for this time. I thank you for these young people. I thank you for actually giving us access to the information so that we can bring it forth. Now, Father, I pray that you redeem the time for those that was on this call, for those that listen to this. I pray that it's effective and that it don't fall on deaf ears, and that it produces fruit and fruit that remain. Father, we love you, we honor you, and we bless you. It's in the matchless name of Jesus we pray. Amen, amen, and amen. We want to thank you all for tuning in. I have another Wellness Wednesday that's going to be coming up dealing with relationships and loneliness in about 2 weeks. And then after that, we got something else that we're going to be doing in March. Anyway, I'll come up with that. I don't want to be rambling, but I know we have a special guest that's going to be with us in April. Dr. Lowe is going to be with us in April. So with that being said, I love you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And we'll see you next time.
Have a nice day.
Bye-bye. Thank you.